everyone. Welcome to an awesome day of FileMaker training. I am Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day we're having a ton of fun learning about the Claris FileMaker platform. As a reminder, to support the channel, hang on, we're going to get there momentarily. To support the channel, everyone, make sure you have one of our bundles over here. Training bundle, basic bundle, plus bundle, complete bundle. And by doing this, you're helping to pay the bills for Margaret and Nick and these people like that. It keeps the live streams running. And Nick, if you want to jump on today, I'm going to hand the controls back to Margaret here.
Okay, so thank you for the introduction. Thank you for everything. So thank you guys for joining today. And so this is a new week talking about their design. So I'm going to share my screen. Margaret is back.
Yes, there we go.
So this is a series about a fundamental design. So we talk about the fundamentals on the the very basic on design, and then we ramp up a little bit, and then we start building objects, components. So we take some object from a FileMaker layout object, and then we build a new object out of this combination of multiple objects, right? So we did a new tab like this, and we did a tab like this, and we did a tab like this, right? And then we did the accordion. So all of this is available to you in this sample file, right? And today I want to talk about a little bit of some limitation, okay? Something we shouldn't do, and something we shouldn't use to build things, right? So let's talk about this, and then I will move up. So what we shouldn't do is to build the tabs, right? And have them more than 10. So you cannot have more than 10 at a time because it becomes unreadable. It becomes very uncomfortable. It becomes unreadable and difficult to use, difficult to read. And it's not a good strategy. It's not a good idea to get more than 10 of those in a row. Okay, it doesn't look good. 10 is a maximum. 6, 7 is let's say we stay in the comfort zone of the high comfort zone. When we are between 7 and 10, we stretch this a little bit. It's not very ugly, but more than 10, yeah, it starts to be bad, And I have an example to you, something that I never noticed in this file, but this dashboard stuff, I didn't design it, right? And I never noticed because I never used in that file, right? My former customer, where I built one of the most advanced solution for a customer so far, is this. This is what I was talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I guess we have some here. No. So we have 14 button here. Is way too big. Is way too much. Okay. And here we start to see the limits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See, 9, we stretch the comfort zone. Okay. So the limits to me, in what I've learned and what I've noticed is that the eyes start to be confused after 10. And we have an example here, okay? Especially that this here is using a tab control and is not using this nice looking here, right? But anyway, this is a dashboard. I never worked on this layout, but it's way too much here. So we need to, here I would have shrink down a little bit this number by the half and sub-classified those are, with, let's say, because we have one here, right? We have a main, let's say, navigation bar. Then we have this. Then we have this. right? So we have a lot, and this definitely, it's a scarf in the middle of the face. You can tell. You can tell in this design that something is off. What is off? This doesn't look bad. This doesn't look bad, but this is, it's a scarf. It's like, phew, you know, on the face, right? So, and so, and it's a bar like this, you know, it's it's not balanced. It's putting the layout completely unbalanced, and you can tell. You can visually tell something is off, right? So what maybe one day that could be nice is that I will tell John that say, okay, let's fix this, and I will do it in front of you. Maybe I can do that at the end of the series. Take the last day and do this. How we can fix this stuff. Okay, so it's just a matter of organization, right? And and to use different objects, right? And we have a lot of use a different pattern for navigation, right? And we have a lot of options here. So the rule here is that don't exceed 10, right? Stay balanced, stay small, right? And reorganize your layout. We're going to work on this. You know, the next week will be all about organization, structure, architecture of the on the landscape. You know, the landscape of design of the layout, right? So that will go next week. But this week we stay focused on object and stuff like this. So 10 here. No more than 10. This one here, I will not exceed 4. Why? Is because you understand that you have one design that is crushing more than another one. This is flashy. It crush. If you put 10 of those, it will be a lot to see. It will be a slap on your face. This is a scarf in the face. This is a slap in the face, right? See, if you have 10 of those. So stay small with those. If you need more, right? That's other ways. And I'm going to show you. Okay, that's other ways. Here, in the accordion, I would go more than 5. 4 is okay. 5, you start stretching. More than 5, it start to be unreadable, right? I mean, it's not comfortable for the eye. It's not. So there's rules like this based on how the user will feel comfortable to look at those things, right? It's not something that they will say, oh, it's horrible, it's terrible, I cannot see. No, it won't be there. It won't be this. It will be like more an feeling uncomfortable, feeling like something is not good, something is not pleasant, let's say. It's not pleasant. It's, is bothered, right? So this is some rules that we have on those, right? That you don't exceed because you are overwhelming the user after that, right? So I want to continue this limitation stuff right here and talk about the button bar in general, right? So when you have a button bar, right, could be any design, 1, 2, 3, right? And so let's take this design here, right? So you see, if I put more, 4, 5, 6, right? And I didn't put a lot of text here, but I mean, it start to be like something is very uncomfortable. 7, okay, right? So so when you have something like this, you can see it's not something comfortable. But when you use a button bar, okay, the button bar is not a comfortable easy, friendly object to use because there's a lot of things going on the bottom bar. And you have a lot of action to do on the bottom bar. First, you need to go here and put the title, right? So you need to put the title here, right? You need to put the title, right? And so you need to do that again and again and again, right? And again, right? So it's not comfortable. And then you need to go one by one, perform scripts, and do the script and go there, perform script and do the script and go there, etc., etc. You need to do that. So you understand that if you have, like I said, more than 10 on the bottom bar, it's not getting comfortable at all. It's not, right? Um, could be, so let me go and let's go to another layout here, right? Or maybe I can create a new layout, right, by the way, right? So it could be a button bar like this, or could be a button bar like this, right? Could be vertical or horizontal. So when you have a button bar and you have like 10, right? Like this, right? And you have like this, and we do the same here, right? This is what I'm talking about, right? Something is not right when you look at something like this. And it is not easy to manipulate. You have a lot of things to do, right? And it doesn't look good, right? So there's a replacement for this. So first, I want to show you something. You notice that if you put a calc here in the title, right? For example, if you put a calc here, right? It doesn't show you, right? I don't know, can't type. It doesn't show you what it should return. It said calculation, okay? You understand? See here, it said calculation, so I can copy this and put here, by the way. See the manipulation on both, it's not like, it's not a really friendly object. I mean, it's not, okay, it's not meant to be like 30 a segment. It's not meant for that, This object never been meant for that. Neither those tab controls, right? This, or the accordion. It's not meant to have like millions of bars, right? It's not meant for that, right? But here you can see set calculation, calculation, calculation. So that can be boring, right? Because you don't know if it fits, right? You don't know what it returns, right? So that's a way to know that. And that's the way. You go to view, you say show, and you say show sample data. And now you can see what actually the calc is returning, right? Just say go show sample data. If you remove, boom. If you go, you say show sample data, boom. See? It shows you. So you don't have the calculation title anymore. Okay. So that's a good trick to know, in order to get those things, right? Okay. So how we typically do, to remove a bottom bar that is big, like this example here. If I take this example and I go here, this. So we'll think this is a bottom bar, right? And this, right? Right. So there's a lot of things in this, right? it looks like it could be a button bar, right? But actually it's not a button bar. Neither is this. It is not a button bar, right? So, and yes, that's an icon. Yes, that's a title. Yes, that's a button, right? But actually it's much simpler to design when you have something like this, right? So when you have something like this, you can, and I have another example here. Let me go to, yeah, I froze my screen because I need to keep privacy here, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Okay, so here, so here, for example, this is not a button bar. It is not. Looks like, right? Looks like a button, right? It looks like a button, but it's not. And I have many examples like this, right? So if I had to build this with a button bar, it would have been a nightmare to build. A nightmare, extremely complicated, not working at all the way it should work. Because not only this looks like a button bar, it is not a button bar, but I can filter it. I can filter, right? So if I want to do this using the button bar, like, or something like this, right? You need to use like awful hacks. It would have been a hack completely, right? So, so how we replace this with another system, right? Well, in FileMaker and in the database in general, you shouldn't be afraid to use tables. You shouldn't be. To use tables and records for your convenience, right? Is not at all a problem. Actually, it is a solution. You use a table, right? And records and fields to get your thing working, right? So how to replace this here, including a calc, right? How we can get this working, right? Okay, so first you need to build a table. So let's say this is buttons, okay? So I create my buttons table, correct? I do need a ID button, not button. So I do need, for each record, I do need an ID. Okay, so get UID, right? And I typically don't do this. So yeah, something I want, since we're here, can teach you because we have time, and I want. So why, if I say do not replace the UUID, right? Here what happened, and this is why I don't want to do it. So let's present this like this. Okay. If I create a new record, everything okay. I get a new ID, right? I get an ID DC58. If I click a new record, everything good. B, D4, DA, so it's a new record. But if I duplicate this record, poof, I get the same ID. So this is no longer a UUID. So if you use that technique of getting, I taught you many times, on every single table you create, you need to have a parent key like this, ID button. and it needs to be a UUID. But if you don't uncheck this, right? Well, when you duplicate, you end up like this. We no longer a UUID, right? So now that I uncheck that, do not replace, well, if I duplicate this record, poof, I'm getting a new. So I could have a title, right? I could have a title or title one. Oops. Okay. Title one. No title. Okay. I didn't even know title existed. Okay. So yeah, no titties. So I can have title 1, 2, 3. If I duplicate, boom, this is duplicated, but this not. So it stays a UUID. Can duplicate. This doesn't, you understand? So that's why when you do this, don't forget to uncheck that button, right? For when you duplicate a record. Okay, so that's a good thing to know. Do you have any questions so far?
I don't see any at the. Someone said records question mark, but
Yes, records.
okay.
We are going to replace a bottom bar with a table and a record. And I'm going to explain to you everything, right? Okay, I'm not saying, don't make me say something I didn't say. I didn't say do not use button bars. No, I'm using button bar all day long. This is a button bar. This is a button bar. This is a button bar. I'm not saying I'm not using button bar, but if you have more than 10, yes, you need to abandon the button bar. That's all. That's what I was saying. And in this presentation of tabs, if you have more than 10 bars, if you have more than 10, buttons, you have a problem on your design. That's what I want to say. So I say, if you have more than 10, get away from the bottom bar. That was my, my purpose, right? So let's say I have my table with my buttons, correct? So, and I say, okay, new record, title 1, right? New record, title 2. Actually, I can duplicate and say title 3, duplicate title 4, duplicate title 5, right? And duplicate title 6, and duplicate title 7, okay? So now that I have this, correct? I can build here a portal. So I need to have a relationship. So when I want a straight relationship, that means I want all the records in that table, I just do a Cartesian link. This is Cartesian link. I'm going to talk about those things in the next series, right? About relationship. So I'm not going to talk about that too much. See. So now I can have my portal and relate to my buttons, okay? And let's remove that for now. And put my title, right? And here I have my buttons. I have my lists, correct? They don't really look like buttons yet right now. They don't, but they will. So now I have my titles, right? And I can go, let me You go there. And I'm going to borrow a design that I already built, right? So, then I'm going to give you, right? And I'm going to borrow this design here, right? So here we have a portal. So you understand now that I'm going to design one row, right? And I'm going to have unlimited number of buttons at the same time. Okay? Unlimited. I can have 2 million buttons if I want because it's a freaking portal, with records, right? So here I have my object, my 2 buttons, because I have 2 buttons here. I have 1 button here. Oops. Yeah. So I have one button here on top, and underneath I have another button. I have 2 buttons. I have a field, and next we will see what we do with the icons. Okay. Next step. So I'm going to copy those buttons here and I'm going to put them here, right? Right. So going to make this a little bit bigger, right? And this bigger as well. And I'm going to copy those 2 objects and put them inside the portal. Correct? Actually, I can make it smaller. And I'm going to put this fields. So now here, what I have a field, 1 button and another one, okay, underneath. Okay. So 1 button here has an icon, is gray, right? So we know how to design this, is gray. And that's a button, an object, right? I draw here a button. It's a button, right? With an icon, etc. Okay, it's a real button. This is a button with an icon. And underneath, I have this, also a button, right? With a highlights, blue, nicely designed, okay? And this is how it looks, okay? So it's not perfect now because I need to explain to you what's going on here, okay? So you understand that when you want to select something, right? You want to select the button. You want to make it selected, okay? So depending on what it does, right? But let's say I want to mimic like this stuff here, right? So I have her here. Let me go layout mode, browse mode. Okay, I want to mimic this. I select this, click, right? I select this, click, right? So I want to mimic this, right? Click, click, see a button, right? It's a button. I select and then I have another list here, right? Something like this. So I want to mimic this. And I want to highlight the one I clicked, right? Here I selected format prep. This is format settlement. This is miscellaneous, right? So I want to mimic this. So how can I do that here? Well, remember, I create for each record, which will represent a button. For each of them, I have an ID, which is a unique ID, and that's the purpose of your unique ID, right? Here in that table here, the table where I have this layout here, the main table of this layout, I have, a field that I name selected whatever. I call that item, right? Oops. It's a field and it's a global. Okay. Why? Is because in that example here, I'm using that layout, but let's say I have 10 other people using in the network, and I'm selecting this. I want this to be selected just for me, not for everybody. I don't want everybody to see that blue because I could have this blue, but another person could have this one selected or none. So a global field, right, just collects the data of the current session, the current user. So whatever I put in the global field, it's just for me. For another person in the network, that field will be empty until it fills this field with his data, his stuff. Okay. So now that I have these fields, okay, I'm going to play with a hidden state here. I have two buttons here. And here what I'm saying whatever the selected item is different. So hide this if the selected item is different than the button ID, right? Follow me. If it's different, remove, right? This one is the opposite, right? Not this one. Yeah, this one. If this equal the button ID. So one is different. So the blue, the blue shows the selected. So the blue, I want the blue to hide if the one I selected is not this record, right? So now I have something looking better here, right? So I have this. So, so normally I have a white background here, right? So, see? So now you see none are selected, none. None are selected, correct? Because none are blue. So now here, I have this script, I have a button. This is a button. And I say the button. So let's put a script step for now. Set fields, right? The selected item, the global field, with whatever ID of that button, right? So each record here, I can show the ID. They all have IDs, okay? 9198, 9118, CCC6, CCC6, A806, A80, you see? So now what happened? I have this J selected field item, which is empty. But what happened if I put here this ID in the global? This ID that is this record, right? Poof, it's blue. Why? Is because this equal this, then the gray gets out, and the blue shows. Because the blue doesn't show if this ID doesn't match this ID. So this ID here doesn't match this one. This one doesn't match this one. So that's why the blue doesn't show. And the gray gets out if this one, if the ID matches this. So you understand the difference? So one shows, the other one hides, right? And now, since I have the script, it works with the script. the set field. I'm setting the field with the ID of that records. Boom, 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 right? Let's put back the title and let's make sure that we cannot edit that field. So now I have this, right? Correct? It works. If I blank this, non-selected. If I click, 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 click. So now I have one selected. Well, now something missing here. I want to mimic this. Like I want the title to be white. Because now it doesn't look good, doesn't look, right? So for this button here, I'm using a hidden object. One shows when the other ones hides, right? And vice versa, right? Using this technique here with the hidden state. But for the text, I don't want to use this. We have another way, much simpler, which is a conditional formatting. And I say, well, if this equal the ID, well, I want the text in white, right? Poof, 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 poof. Correct? So that works perfectly. Correct? So far, so good. Do we have any questions so far?
Not at the moment that I can see. Well, someone said, isn't Nick breaking his own rule? In the example, there were 11 buttons in the button bar, right?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is before I had even more on the dashboard. I'm not breaking my own rules. I didn't build that layout. The customer did. And to be honest with you, I didn't see that. And now that I'm seeing that, I'm feeling bad, right? So that's what I was saying at the beginning. I say, maybe at the end of that survey, I will go to that layout and fix it for you. You know, how to fix this, you know, how to prevent those things, you know. But here we talk about something else. You know, we talk about when you have a button bar, which is a great object for some applications, but not all of them, right? How to replace this with something else, right? Correct? Well, so now I want to continue on this. So we don't have any other questions?
Isn't a portal field? Question mark.
Yeah, it's a portal. You know, it's a portal. It's a portal with a field and two buttons. But I create I create those three objects, and now I have an unlimited button. You know, they build as I go, and they work as I go. I don't even have to go. If I want to add a new button here, this is what I need to do. Click, plus, and put the title like this, right? And make it bigger, right? So here, and I can remove when I want, right? Correct? So this design here is much more flexible. And you will see that not only is more flexible, but I will have much more functionalities, right? So here, right, I have this. So far, so good. Now, I want to show you something that's why you came here, right? That's why you come here, okay? Because you want to learn things great. Here, I have a calc, correct? So what you will do, if I want here to show, for example, the get current date. So that means the date can change every day. If I say here, I want this, get current date. Button bar, evaluate the current date for me, because button bar title can be calculated, and it can be a calc, and then I can this. But now that I'm not in the button bar and I'm using a field, how do I do that? So, I'm asking in the audience how you do that. We'll see if we have some smart people here.
People are typing. Put a button bar of 1 as the button on the portal.
Beep.
Evaluate
Bad design.
get date.
See, yes, but how? Missing a part here. Missing a. Okay, I'll tell you. You're close from the evaluate. Let's use a layout calculation, right? Correct? And I say evaluate the title on the calculation. I remove this and I put that instead, right? And I put back my conditional formatting here. So J selected equal the button ID, white text. So you will say, boom. Correct? Doesn't work. But what happens if I do this? Right? What happens if I do quotes? Oh, by the way, let's say I want to do that at once. Any ideas? I like to do some quiz like this. Any idea? I want to make quote on this. Let's see if we have smart people.
Calculation, quote function, replace.
Yes. Okay, who said that?
David Angel and Shiegel.
Okay, you're good. So I am quoting title and I replace. Poof. So now we have another story here. So why that works? Because now this is treated as a calc, like if I were there. If you put title 1 here, it said table missing. I mean, question mark. If I put a quote, poof, now it works because I am in the calc. But the evaluation will treat that as a function in a calc. Ergo, I can come here and put my get current state. So the combination of table, buttons, hidden states, and using the field as the support to receive a code, using the layouts, the calculation to evaluate that field, boom, I get the same as my button bar functions. The same. Could be anything here, right? Boom. Correct? And it works. So now you get the point here. This object, yes, it's great, it's cool, it's whatever, but it's not at all as flexible as what I'm just showing you. It's not, because I want to add a button. What do you want? Which function you want? I'll say, let's go there and pick a function, whatever you want. Or let's say pi, for example. Okay, yeah, I want pi. Okay, so I tap pi here. Boom, I have my pi. Boom, I have my pi. Right? Well, I mean, you know, and I added this, and I didn't even add it, you know what I mean? So it's working fine. Not only this, so not only we get this for free, you add stuff like this and stuff like this, right? You understand? Not only this, but I get something this guy doesn't get. This. This guy cannot. This can. You understand? This guy cannot, this guy can. Right? So I can show more, right?
Yes.
So you have much more flexibility, is much more comfortable to build, right? Correct? Than the bottom bar. So now we're not done with this, right? Tomorrow I'm going to continue, but now you're going to ask me, yeah, but if I have two in a layout, correct? That the question you're going to ask me, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. Here, I'm adding a new field. IDF entity. This field. And in the design, I'm going to put ID entity. And I call that a link. This is my, way to do that. And I say entity ID. That way, it's better to read. This means I'm going to use that field in a relationship. That's why I say link. And I put it at a global as well. Correct? And I'm going to say, okay, now here, I will say, okay, this entity with this entity, right? Correct? So here, maybe I will say, let's call that buttons, button list 1, for example. Okay, let's call that button list because I'm going to add more, button list 1 ID. Okay, I rename that. Okay, and the bottom link list 1 ID is linked with this. Correct? Well, now I'm going here. I'm generating a UUID. So how to generate a UUID? You go to the data viewer and you say, okay, generate a UUID. I have a UUID. Okay. And I said all of those buttons, okay, belong. Oh, sorry. I forgot to What happened? Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I don't know. I have a spinning wheel.
I think you're good on you. I don't see a spinning wheel on my end.
No, it's doesn't want to let me. I don't
Hmm.
know what happened here. I have a spinning wheel. Well, oh, okay. So I'm pasting this and I'm replacing all those records with the same ID. Right? All
Yes.
those with this ID. And in this field, I'm going to put this ID. Sorry. Right? So now this equal this. So I have a simple relationship. So this shows only the records for that entity with this ID. Let's say I want another, right? I want another button bar, a second one in the same layout, right? So I'm going here and I'm duplicating this field and I say button 2 ID. And I'm going to create, this is button list 1 and this is button list 2. And I'm saying button list 2 with the entity. This is button list 1 with the entity, right? What did I do wrong here? Button list 1 with entity. Oh, I changed the relationship. Yeah, I don't have the latest version of FileMaker, so I need to change this. But for compatibility reason, I didn't do that because I changed the name here, so that's okay. The new version fixed this. So now I'm going to duplicate this, remap the plural with the button list 2, remap this calc with button list 2, remap those calc with button list 2, right? Because it's another relationship. And I'm going, of course, to change that selected item with the, actually I need a second global. So this is a selected item 1, and this is a selected item 2. Okay. I need another field because I want to select the second global because it's another, entity, and button is 2, right? And make sure I change button 2 here and button 2 and button 2 as well here. Okay, we're good. So now I have 2, but 1 is not showing anything. Why? Is because this is the button list 2 and the button list 2, right? I need another UUID. Don't worry, I'm going to come back there, right? I'm going to explain to you. I need another get UUID. I put here. And now I'm going to omit those, create new record with this entity, and I say whatever, Nick Hunter, right? And here I said Marge Carlton, Scott Kane, David Angel, and I can say get current time with this. Oh, I forgot the conditional. Button 2, button is 2. Now I have 2 buttons. What happened? Oh, I forgot to quote those. But I have 2 button bars in the same layout. Oh, something is wrong with that hidden state somewhere. I forgot. Okay, what about this one? Oh, button 1. Button 1, okay. So I have this and this. 2. And here, this is how it looks like. I have the same table, multiple records. Each one has a single UUID for each of them. Then I can cherry pick one, and then I have an entity ID that I use to separate which one goes there and which one goes there. So now you can have this portal with those 2 buttons, 1 calc in a portal, and you can have unlimited supplies or button bars without redesigning anything, right? You can get calculated titles, right? And you can get everything this guy gives you, right? With the same, without the impediment, all the burden, all, of this and click and no, correct? So this, to me, it's a much better design than this. I'm not saying that the button bar is not useful. It is useful. I'm using it. I keep saying it because people say, "Oh, no. I use it. I use it. This is the button bar. I'm using it. For this, it's great, but for this, it's not. That's my point, right? So tomorrow we're going to continue because we're not done yet. Yes, I can put an icon. Yes, I can also trigger a script. I can do whatever this guy do without the problem, because you will see that how powerful this will be for you. It doesn't take much to build a table, 2 fields, and that's it. You know what I mean? So, and you can replicate, reuse, spread all over the place, right? Just by duplicating a relationship. That's it, right? And you have another entity with the ID, right? And you separate which portal with this button list. You put the main ID, this one, all the 35.8 goes there. And this one, all the 104 here goes there. And etc. etc. You can have 4, 5, 10, 11, as many you want. Right?
Mm-hmm. Which is
So
awesome.
tomorrow so do we have any question, or you want to answer now?
Mostly people saying this is really awesome, which it is. This is a really clever technique to generate a customized button bar. There's a lot of options here. I think this is awesome.
Yeah.
We do have a quick question that just popped up, which is assuming you can reorder with the sort order field and sort by that in the portal, right?
Of course, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty. For example, so now we know we open the Pandora box, right? Because of course we have all the beauty of sorting. For example, since we're there and then we go, I can put an order, which is a nightmare to do here, right? But here is super easy. So I am an order here, and I said, okay, let's take care of those. Okay, I want this one first, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, 9, 10, and 11, and 12, right? And then this one, I want 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, 5 here. Correct? So now they both should be like this, right? I mean, like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to my relationship and I sort that by my order. And I sort that by my order. And poof, I have my new order. Do this with this. Good luck. Right?
Yes.
We have another one as well. Another good thing, right? I can hide an object. I can say, okay, you can put whatever mechanism, right? But I can show you, but you can hide based on a condition. You can, for example, you say, okay, yeah, I want, I'm logged in as Nick Hunter, for example. I just want the button that Nick Hunter can see. Try to do this here. Here's a nightmare because you need to go each of them and you need to go there and put the calc here and see, put the calc here and here, put the calc here and here, put the calc here. Here, you just have a relationship so you can do whatever you want, right? So tomorrow we're going to continue. So do we have another question?
Not at the moment. So
Okay. So tomorrow we're going to continue working on this, how to hide stuff. So based on whatever you want, the logic, but I'm going to show you how to build the hidden states, how to hide. But before we're going to continue the design on this, put some icons and get another design because maybe you want something different. Maybe you want it horizontal. Let's say I want this horizontal.
mm-hmm.
Using the same.
That'll be awesome.
Yes, it is totally possible, right? But you understand that horizontal, you have limitation, and vertical, you have none, because vertical can scroll, horizontal cannot. So yes, those, I could make them horizontal, but those, I will violate my own rule, like another people said. Vertical, you can do whatever you want. So let's recap this today's session, okay? Don't use a button bar on a slide control on a tab more than 10. I show you it's unreadable. It's cumbersome. It's not good. But then we start talking about button bars, and I say, okay, when it comes to if you have more than 10, which is more likely vertical, because horizontal, you don't have unless you have a 39 curves $2,000 screen from Samsung, unless you have this, okay, or more than 10, you have a limitation on the width of your screen, right? More likely you have more than 10 if you build a vertical button bar. But when you have more than 10, then it starts to be difficult to build, difficult to use. It is no longer an appropriate layout object. It's no longer appropriate. You need to switch to another technique, right? And this object, unfortunately, doesn't exist out of the box. So that's why I'm here, to build with you objects that are not out of the box, but we can build easily. And then I'm going to show you that this opens you a new dimension. It opens you new, because now, yes, you can, and it ease the burden on each button, double click, edit, all those. We not, do you want to do that and 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 do you want to do all those things? And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then you want to duplicate this, and then you have to redo it. I need another button in a matter of seconds, it wouldn't have been possible to do that here. Even for me, I would have click like crazy. Here I duplicate, remap 2 buttons, 1 pole, and that's it, and I can do it again if I want. And I have here, you have another problem, is to make it differently, to make it look like different. You will have a problem here. With this design here, you can make it different very easily. You just change how the button looks, and you can make it bigger if you want, or wider if you want, right? So tomorrow, we're going to see many, many, many good things.
Yes, which I'm excited to see.
Okay. So I'm
thank
going
you
to
very
send you
much, Nick.
I'm going to send you the file.
Yes.
Right? Mhm.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Nick, for presenting.
You're welcome. And so see you tomorrow then.
Yes. Have a good one, everybody. I will see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.